Hello, everyone. It is Kailey and Peggy again here today to bring you another Grief and Brief episode. We're often asked at Sandcastles, how do I help a child in my life who's grieving? And we love to share our resources and our insights on what things you can do as a caregiver or maybe a teacher or a loved one to help support a grieving child. We're also asked often about supporting a grieving friend. What can we do? What are the right things to say? How can I best help someone in my life who I know has just suffered a death loss?
And the thing that we know for sure is that grief is completely unique to every individual. So we want to approach these things by being completely present. We want to listen and listen without being ready to give advice or respond every moment. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give to someone is the gift of listening in silence, listening to understand. So even if you feel like you understand, maybe you're a widow yourself, or if you've also had someone die from cancer, always remember your friend's grief is unique to them. The best thing you can do for your friend is to be patient and be present. Don't minimize what they're feeling or try to sugarcoat it at all. Don't tell them that it could be worse. Or, and whatever you do, don't start any sentence with the words at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we love those silver linings, but we don't want to do that with our friend's grief. And we also want to be sure to encourage our grieving friend to take care of themselves. And how can we help with that? Maybe that's asking them to join you on a walk through the neighborhood or offering to watch their kids while they take a few hours just to themselves. We can encourage our grieving friend by respecting their boundaries or helping them to create some. So, giving them permission to say no. Extend that invitation to them, but be careful not to push them. Create that setting where everything is okay. They can come or they can choose not to come. And they can even change their mind if they don't have the energy in that moment. But give them the permission to change their mind. They can always reschedule lunch or dinner for a time that they're feeling up to it. And try not to be offended if they say no. Maybe not the easiest thing, but try not to be offended if they say no. And instead, try and take that as a compliment because that means that they feel safe enough with you to be honest and to speak their truth and recognize for themselves when things are getting to be too much.
Absolutely. And on that same train of thought, we also want to be careful to manage our own expectations of our friend who is grieving. So when we're in the thick of grief, we're not functioning at 100% capacity. Our emotional battery is always a little depleted, even on the best of days. So as a friend of a griever, know this and give grace.
It's normal after a loss to not know what to say. We're often scared to talk about the person who died because we don't want to upset anyone or bring up any difficult emotions. But we want to encourage you today to speak the name of the person who died because when we're grieving, it can feel often as though people are walking on eggshells around us, being extra careful. And sometimes all we want is for the person to acknowledge our grief. We want someone in the room to acknowledge what's going on. And a great way to do this is to bring up the person who died. So finding ways to fit them into a conversation, whether that's sharing a memory that you remember with them or simply saying their name out loud.
And remember that there is no one size fits all when it comes to grief. Even if you had the same person die, your grief doesn't look the same as someone else. So having ideas and options can be a gift. And speaking of gifts, with the holidays coming up, it's hard not to think about them. The holidays can be tough after a death. So a friend, how do you help a friend or even a family member grieving during this the most wonderful time of the year, right? Holidays.
Right. Because holidays can be really, really difficult after a death. Not only is your friend going to be missing their loved one's presence, but there are so many commitments this time of year. It's so busy, so many things going on. So allow the person to change their mind about these events, as we mentioned before. Give them permission to say yes, but let them back out if they need to. Or maybe come 30 minutes later and leave, or come for 30 minutes and leave, or come 2 hours later.
And some ideas might be incorporating that person who died into your event. So, one idea might be lighting a candle at the table before dinner or adding in some type of memorial event as part of that activity. Just be sure to ask your friend first because you wouldn't want to catch them off guard. But doing it in a sense of honoring that person can be really powerful. You could also add a memory stocking to your mantle and invite guests to write out memories and put them into the stocking for the family to read later.
There are also a lot of traditions that families have this time of year. Family meals and decorating trees, getting family photos taken, sending cards, watching holiday movies, baking cookies. There are so many things that happen year after year. And some of these tasks are going to be really difficult now. Pulling out the tree may feel like a very daunting task, or grocery shopping and finding the time to bake holiday cookies may feel like too much this year. Practical help could be so beneficial for your grieving friend. Maybe that's offering to help with trimming the tree or making cookies together, or maybe that's even that your friend has let you know that watching Elf is going to be too difficult for them this year, but their kids really want to watch it as it's something that they do every year. And maybe it was even dad's favorite holiday movie. So think of offering to spend the afternoon watching the movie with the kids. Sometimes it's those little things like that that can mean the most and truly be the most helpful.
And remember that it can sometimes be really, really important for kids to know that it is still okay to look forward to things, to look forward to Santa, or to look forward to participating in a school holiday party. It's okay to still enjoy the holidays, even if everything has changed. It's also okay to want to ditch everything about the holiday and just go on vacation or do something completely different because doing the same thing as before was too painful. There is no right or wrong. It is completely up to the family. And we, as supporters or friends, need to honor that, accept that, and encourage that.
Mm-hmm. And most importantly, don't hide. It's easy to shy away from others' grief because it's really not an easy thing to talk about. But simply being present for your grieving friend is an incredible gift. Continuing to show up for them throughout their grief journey is the greatest way to show them that you care about them.